Okay, so question 4 asks us to solve the equation 5x squared minus 3x equals 2. And if you remember from a couple days ago, we need to make sure that one side equals 0. So let's subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm left with 5x squared minus 3x minus 2, and then this part equals 0. The only thing that we know how to do with the 5x squared minus 3x minus 2 is to set up a box. And we're going to put 5x squared in the upper left, negative 2 in the bottom right. And to fill in the rest, if you remember, I need to find two numbers that multiply to give 5 times negative 2, which is negative 10, and add to give negative 3. So we need to find our factors. So start writing numbers, starting at 1, and just increase by 1 every time. It doesn't matter how many you put, but this will make sure that you don't miss any. Take negative 10 divided by 1, and you get negative 10. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Negative 10 divided by 3 is a decimal, as is negative 10 divided by 4. That's also a decimal. And then negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Notice that we seem to have the same numbers repeat, but they're opposites. So if we start repeating, then we know we've found all of our factors. At this point, we need to figure out the two numbers, or the pair, that adds up to give negative 3. And you can see right here we've got 2 and negative 5. That's what's going to go in the box. And don't forget to put your x on the end. And to figure out what goes on the outside, we need to find two numbers that multiply to give 5. And our only options are 1 and 5. We do know that we have x and x here. If I were to put a 5 in front here, notice that 5 times something that's not a decimal, well, it's not going to give us positive 2. It has to be a decimal, and we don't want that. So we know that the 5 needs to go up top. 5x times negative 1 will give me negative 5x. X times positive 2, that'll give me 2x. So I've successfully factored. And don't forget, this was equal to 0. And if you remember, we need to now take this and split it up into two parts. And you get two equations. X minus 1 equals 0, and 5x plus 2 equals 0. Solve for x by adding 1 to both sides. X equals 1. Over here, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. 5x equals negative 2. And then divide by 5. X equals negative 2/5. And x equals 1. Finally, on number 5, you're told that the length of a square is 4x minus 5, and you need to find the area. Well, the sides of a square are all the same, so length and width are both 4x minus 5. So that means that we need to multiply 4x minus 5 times 4x minus 5 to find the area. So set up a box. Four x minus 5 on the side, 4x minus 5 on the top. I'm going to quickly multiply this. 4x times 4x is 16x squared. This is negative 20x, negative 20x, and positive 25. Combine your like terms, and so you get 16x squared minus 40x plus 25. That's your area. Just a few reminders before you take today's test. I want you to please use that calculator rule or calculator trick that we learned earlier today on the warm-up by putting the top into Y1 and putting your answer choices into Y2 and comparing the tables. It's okay to use this method. I just want to make sure that you do know how to do this by hand, but you can still use the calculator on today's test, and you can use that same method on the tax test. There's nothing that says that you have to do one way, but I'll tell you right now, putting this into the calculator will guarantee that you're going to get the right answer, just like we did on this example here earlier today. This goes into Y1, put the answer choices into Y2, and then compare the table. Good luck on today's test. I'll see you on Wednesday.